Infamous gunslinger Desmond Gibbons, better known across the Wild West as the Cactus Kid, comes to the sleepy town of Clarkson. Trouble finds him in the unlikeliest of sources, the sheriff. After their conflict, the Cactus Kid finds himself inexplicably wearing the badge of a lawman. Later, while on the trail of a serial killer, he and his deputy run afoul of a powerful druid, and the events that lead to the Cactus Kid's transformation into the hulking, four-armed projectile reptile are even more than the druid bargained for. From the Wild West to current-day Los Angeles, where he meets superheroes Black Eagle and Red Hawk, and forms an uneasy alliance with the stunning but deadly Kitty Hawk. Join the projectile reptile on a journey of gunslinging druidic magic, superheroes, and artifacts. Projectile Reptile from Dojo-kun Comics, only on Indiegogo. Are you ready for the truly Wild West?
And we're live. Thanks everyone for joining. This is the 40th episode of the Dojo-kun Chill Shack. Got a great show for you tonight. Our guest co-host, I'll bring him up right now. It's Dean James. You know him as Comics Mate. How are you doing, Dean?
I'm good, mate. Good. How are you?
Oh, doing very well. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you being a co-host on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. You're a lot of fun to talk to. And in fact, hopefully I'll get you on the show soon to talk about the Embrace 2.
Oh, definitely.
So yeah, when you guys are ready, have Odin reach out to me or you reach out to me and we'll get you guys on.
All right, cool. Will do.
Right. In the meantime, we're here to talk to some folks about, I think it's a genre that's really catching fire right now in the indie comics genre, if you will, or the area of indie comics. You know, for a while we had werewolf books, we had superhero books, but now I think that this fantasy, this science fiction fantasy with sword and sorcery has become a really big thing lately. And, throwing his hat in the ring, throwing their hats in the ring are Dennis and Andy. Welcome, guys, to the show.
Hello.
Hey.
Well,
so
thanks.
Yeah, you picked a great time to do this book. The book we're talking about, of course, is, tell me if I'm saying it right, Kor-Drath, The Reckoning?
That's it, baby.
Got it right.
All right. So tell us a little bit about what made you select this genre next, because Andy, you've been doing superheroes up until very recently. And I got to say, when I read First Man, I was very impressed and can't wait for the next one.
Oh, well, thank you.
It was good stuff.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I do. I love superheroes. I grew up, mostly reading superheroes. I did read Tarzan and Conan as well. And most, Conan was more just because of John Buscema on art. Tarzan, because I just grew up on Tarzan movies and stuff and always loved the character.
Oh, sure.
And, so the first two, like you said, first two projects were First Man that I did, my volume 1 and volume 2. And, it's one of those things where I spent roughly 2 years total working on those. And as much as I like doing it, I want to try something else. Okay, and sure. I worked on a book called Claw. Well, the first one was Red Sonja versus Claw about 10 years ago, 11 years ago for Dynamite. And then after that, DC did its own Claw book. And, Claw is the dude that has a messed up hand. So he's basically Conan with a mangled hand, and mangled magical hand. And I, it was the first time in my career ever doing that type of stuff. And I just enjoyed the hell out of it. I was nervous going into it because I never did anything like that before. But once I got into it, I was like, this is really cool. I don't have to draw buildings and I don't have to draw cars and I don't have to draw guns. I don't even really need a ruler except for words and stuff. And I just really liked it. So
but do you have to draw horses?
I do have to draw horses, but you know, I don't mind that. I mean,
Okay.
you know, it's definitely, look, I haven't drawn a horse in probably, well, since Claw. So, you know, 11 years. I mean, I've drawn one, but not on a consistent basis. But, you know, I just look at that as a challenge.
Okay.
And hopefully muscle memory will kick in and it'll, you know, it'll come back to me. But so after First Man Volume 2, before just going into a Volume 3, I just kind of want to switch gears. And honestly, I want to try something different, you know? I mean, that's the nice thing about this crowdfunding is, you know, I'm my own boss and I can do what I want. I really want to try something different.
Amen to that. So how did you get Dennis involved?
You know, so Dennis and I have known each other for, I don't know, 5-6 years, something like that.
Right around there.
And, you know, he lives in town. You know, when we do our Dennis and Andy show, he comes over to my house when we record it here. And he's a big comic book guy as well. Not on the, well, now he is on a creative side, but until now he was, you know, collector. He's very knowledgeable. He's an appraiser of comics for insurance companies, for collections and stuff. And he's a huge D&D guy, fantasy, you know, type stuff. He loves that world and that stuff. And I know, and when I say he's really huge into D&D, he can explain it in a bit. I mean, he's a dungeon master. He creates these the games and stuff. And we were driving to a convention in the spring, and I was telling him, you know, after First Man, I'm thinking about doing something else. And I basically was like, you know, I kind of have this nugget of an idea, and that's how a lot of my stuff starts, is just kind of like with this little just nugget of an idea. And because on First Man, I worked with a friend of mine as well on the writing. So I kind of threw it out at him, and he just, you know, he's really good at world building. And he just, you know, we talked about it on the 3-hour drive and talked about it over the weekend and just kind of went from there with it, throwing out, you know, ideas and stuff. So,
well, I do have to say that I'm a very long time tabletop role-playing gamer. I've
cool.
been playing. The first set I have, Dennis, of D&D is the blue box.
Nice. The blue
now,
box.
see, that doesn't mean anything to me.
So the
I know, but
I'm like, well, okay, so you had a blue box.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that, you know.
The blue box, Andy, is the very first commercially available D&D game. So I'm an OG D&Der.
Yeah, I think you showed me that at dinner tonight. So.
Yep. So I was Redbox. So I managed to get the basic set for Christmas, of all places. My mom and dad hate this stuff. They don't understand it. And yet for Christmas, I got the D&D basic set where you had to take the crayon and color in your dice and everything like that, right, just so you could read them.
Wow.
And literally, I was hooked from that moment. I couldn't read enough. Expert set came out. I went and did that. And then I kind of picked those up, hopped into AD&D, and, you know, well, Dungeons & Dragons hardcover, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. We went right on to 2nd edition, 3rd edition, 3.5. We started making our own up, and 90% of everything we created wound up being in Pathfinder. So we just rolled right into Pathfinder. 4th edition sucked, and then now I'm doing 5th edition. So that's
how do you like 5th?
The way it rolls.
Let's not go too long on it because we want to talk about Kor-Drath.
Oh yeah, but go ahead.
How do you like 5th?
I do.
Okay.
It's it kind of combines a lot of the stuff that was good about 2nd edition, even some of 1st edition with the role playing, but really combines it with some of the good streamlined stuff without going into all the ridiculous feats and stuff that 3 and 3.5 did. I'm surprised at how much I liked it. I honestly didn't think I would, but it really has caught on. It's very enjoyable.
Okay, good. Glad to hear that. So, Dean, do you have any questions before we get into the campaign?
You mean about D&D?
No. About the comic. Sorry. Yeah. Didn't mean to throw you in front of the bus there.
Oh no, I don't know anything about. This is the first time I've ever seen Kor-Drath, so
Oh, okay.
I'm excited because I've had my head down working on the Embrace, so I literally haven't looked up from my desk in I don't know at least a month.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
we need to talk. We need to talk to you about Projectile Reptile too eventually. All right,
Yeah.
so let's not get off on that. Let's go ahead and bring up the campaign. I got it all set here. So either Dennis or Andy, whichever one of you. You know what? Let me move you up so that we're not blocking you. In fact, I'll even put myself way down here as well.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Whoops. Well, you know, we want the guys to be able to see you because I'm going to have comments and stuff coming up.
Sure.
You know. And in fact, let's see, we've got Shadowhawk with us. Hail, Shadowhawk. Thanks for being
here. What's up, Shadowhawk?
Good seeing you.
So I don't know which of you want to drive out. You know, I'll go up and down in the campaign and you can tell me where you'd like to visit. Oh, I see that Randy has joined us too. Hi, Randy.
Randy.
Hello, Randy.
On. You don't ever sleep, I swear.
I know. Randy's the man. I mean, you know, I can explain the campaign and the tiers and stuff. I think Dennis does a really fantastic job explaining the overall story since he's been driving force behind the story.
So Dennis, do you want to start with that then, or do you want me to start with the trailer? It looks like you've got one on this.
Hey, you might as well play the trailer.
Yeah, the trailer.
Okay, guys, are there two different trailers? Because I see the button on both of these slides.
Play, go back.
One.
No, do that one.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's a new one.
Oh, I'm excited.
Sweet. That's very nice.
Thank
you.
Indiegogo.
I love that. Jimmy Reyes did that trailer, and right at the end, I don't know where he got I don't know who did the little voiceover, the cute little voice of saying, "Back us on Indiegogo." So, but it's cute.
Like his wife, actually.
Oh, is that okay? See, I was thinking that. Yeah. And I've never heard his wife. We're actually going to be talking to him tomorrow on his show, so we'll meet her then. But I actually kind of thought that. I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe it's his wife. Where else would he get it from?
Tomorrow.
It sure sounded like her to me. I've been on his stream a number of times and heard her talking and all that.
Oh, cool.
I would bet on that. So,
well, I'll find out tomorrow.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. So let's have a look then at the story. So, okay, you talk about your history with 31 years with Marvel, DC, Image, Valiant, CrossGen, and more. Actually, you know, I'm trying to collect all of the CrossGen books. I'm doing pretty well with that too.
Are you? That's cool.
They're amazing. Yeah.
I don't have them all. I probably have still, because, you know, we got a copy of everything working there. So I probably have 85%. I'm sure I don't have it all, but I probably got 85% of it.
Yeah, I started with the Perez stuff because I'm a huge Perez fan, but then started noticing all of you other guys. I'm like, you know what? I have no idea how CrossGen ever folded with all of the talent that they had. I mean, oh my God.
it's called growing too. It's honestly expanding too fast and spending money too fast and and stuff. That's all.
Okay,
that's a big part of it.
So, Dennis, why don't you tell us about the story behind Kor-Drath?
Well, Kor-Drath is really about, he's the main character. He's from the Red Lions tribe, and Adriana, which is his red-headed lover, star-crossed lover, she's from another, basically a sister tribe from the Black Eagles, and they're out doing stuff, and when they return, they find out that his entire tribe's been wiped out by a large contingent of undead. Where did these undead come from? Who's leading them? And that's where this thing really starts kicking in. So he winds up having to hold to a blood oath to revenge his entire tribe, and that's kind of the focus of this particular book. Is he's got to get revenge on it, and so he winds up finding out that they're basically pawns in a much bigger scheme of things, and things unfolding. They have to go get an artifact that they've been, that people are looking for, the bad people. So, we're dealing with succubus, undead, half frost giant liches that are hundreds of years old. Things that you wouldn't consider normal type villains. The Necro Knight is a super powerful, think of it almost like an anti-paladin from the old word, and able to raise armies of undead and stuff like that. So and right there is, you wanted to know about Andy drawing a horse.
Yeah, see, there's a horse.
Knight, and that's Hellfire, his steed.
Okay. And then when you said you were talking about succubus, is Lilith one of those?
Yes, she is.
Yes, she is.
I have a fondness for Lilith, and I think that's mostly because of Bud Root's cover. Wow.
Yeah, dude. Bud, Bud Root hit a home run on that one. And, I didn't have any other thoughts that he wouldn't. So,
right.
I've known him for going on 20 years. It'll be 20 years in the next few. So,
yeah, see, that's the thing. When I have comic book creators on my show that haven't been industry pros for decades, I often ask them, how did you get so-and-so to do a cover for you? But when I see Bud Root on an Andy Smith campaign, I'm like, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, I just asked him.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you look at Bud's style, and we said, draw Lilith, and he's like, oh, it is a perfect fit.
Yeah,
right.
And Bud lives in town. Bud actually lives in town as well, so it was easy. So
here we go, folks. This is what we're talking about right here.
Yeah.
Of course, we're going to go over the tiers and the bundles and things like that. But this is the cover I'm talking about. Just wow. Oh, and who colored this? Is that also Bud?
No, this is Dan Lawless. Dan colored this, and he colored my main cover as well. And he colored the character pieces that you saw the thumbnails, but they're also used for these character cards that will be stretch goals. So Dan's great. Dan's a fantastic artist, in his own when it comes to, drawing, penciling, inking and stuff, but
Absolutely.
His coloring is really Frazetta-esque. And I was like, yeah, let's get you on these covers. So,
as a sort of a foreshadowing of the future, I've got a cover for one of my comics by Dan as the artist. He did a demonized version of one of my characters, which, wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I can't wait to.
Oh, that's cool.
That's going to be down the line, though. That's 1 or 2 campaigns away yet.
Sure. No, that's very cool.
So, all right. So what we'll do then is we're going to switch over to you, Andy. Let's talk about the campaign. If you want to describe the campaign page, or if you want to start with the tiers, you're driving. I'm just following your lead.
Well, the campaign, it's I think it's pretty basic. It's the 64-page graphic novel. It's square bound, like all the books we do are, nice, looks good on a bookshelf and stuff. You've got the main cover right there, obviously by me. And then you scroll down below that one, and cover B I did as well. And this is one thing I don't like about Indiegogo. I wish it could show larger, but with their format, everything is, in this nice column.
Yes.
Right. But that's a wraparound cover. So I mean, the right hand side's the front, the left hand side's the back, and it's going to be a virgin cover with no logo or anything. So it'll look
No
just
cover
like that.
dressing.
And then the cover below that, I want to do one just showing the black and white line art, but I thought, having the blood on the axe red would be cool.
Mhm.
So that's black, white, and red. And then, of course, you saw the Bud Root cover below that. And then I just added this week, because I just finished it, is the homage cover to Conan #1 by the very famous Barry
that's
Windsor
cool.
Smith. Thank you very much, Dean. So that's Barry, obviously a homage to Barry Windsor Smith. I know I was talking to Aaron, and Aaron on his first Wraith of God did a couple, or I think he did one homage cover for that one. And I was like, because on First Man, I actually had picked out 2 Captain Marvel covers that Jim Starlin did back in the 70s that would have made perfect homage covers for Volume 1 of First Man and Volume 2. But I didn't do them because I'm like, does anybody really care about a homage cover? Or am I just doing it for my own self-gratification? And is it going to be a waste of my time? And then, Aaron did it, and it was a home run. And then with his latest Wraith of God, he did 2 of them. And I'm like, that's it. I got to do one. I just said, I got to do one. So, and I've always loved that Conan cover, and it just fits.
I was talking about homage covers with Shelby Robertson, and he introduced me to a group on Facebook that's all they post about are homage covers. So,
no way. You got to send me that link. I don't know that group.
Yeah, it's fun. I love seeing them. And in fact, on Projectile Reptile, I have 2 homage covers. So,
well, I mean, honestly, it's, hindsight's always 2020. If I knew how popular it was, I might have done 2, and then maybe not the black, white, and blood one, but one's good enough.
Yeah, given the fact that you're in the genre of Conan with Kor-Drath, this fits perfectly, I think.
Yeah, and everybody's really reacting nicely to it. So because as a creator, whether you're an artist or a writer, you're always at some point while you're working, that little voice in your head is like, "This is a waste of time, Smith. What are you doing? You should be doing something better." And as I'm sitting there doing it, I'm like, "Shut up! This is cool." So I got it done, and I was, and it was difficult. Well, it wasn't. It was difficult when I was working on it in black and white, because even though I already knew what the color scheme was, obviously, because the cover was done, so I was just going to use the exact same color scheme.
Mm-hmm.
It was still kind of hard picturing the final image, but once I got it done colored, it really did come together nice. So I'm happy with it. So so that's the next one. And then if you go down, I'm also doing let's see. Well, I show some character art, of course. Those are actually the first character shots I did of the main cast.
To scale.
Yeah, they're to scale. Like if you line them up next to each other, they're all to scale. So, well, actually,
wait a second.
No, they're not, because once again, because of Indiegogo, the way it is, they're actually so Kor-Drath and Adriana are in scale next to each other, and Necronite and Lilith are, but Kor-Drath is like 6'5", but Necronite's 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
So
okay.
He's a big guy. So, but I'm also doing a black, white, and raw hardcover, which is basically an IDW type artist edition, where I'm scanning all my artwork in I usually scan my art in grayscale because it's going to be colored.
Uh-huh.
But now I'm scanning everything in full color, so you can see the variations of the ink, because I'm not, some artists I know are very particular when they put down their ink. They like it all to be like jet black. And I've never been that way, because I'm like, well, it's going to print black. It doesn't matter if there's like subtle differences in the gray of the ink, the darkness of it or opacity.
Okay.
So it's not 11 by 17 like the big ones that IDW does. It's 8.5 by 11 3/4, but it's a hardcover. It's 80 pages, so it's going to have all the artwork for the book, the separate model sheets I've done on the characters as well are going to be in it. Bud Root's cover is going to be in it as well, so it'll be a nice art book to go along.
And I see up here it says the price is $65 while the campaign is running, but then after that, although it will be available, it'll go up to $80. So now's the time to grab it.
Yeah, that, and the books I don't do that with. Books are $25, and I keep them at that. But this oversized like that, being a hardcover, it just really the print cost, on it is just otherworldly compared to just a comic, proportion 7 by 10, graphic novel. So,
but why not discount it to the fans that really want to back this up front? I mean, I think it was a great move.
Yeah, and that's just it. You know how it is. You do campaigns, you build support, you connect with your fan base and stuff. And like Dennis said, I was like, you know what? If I can cut him something for the campaign, I will. And for the campaign, I can do that. So,
yeah, great. And this helps you produce the book and get it all printed and all that. So, tell me, guys, how much of the book is already done?
I'll be honest with you. The writing is 85% done. And then when it comes to interior art, I've just started on it. Okay. And part of the reason is because while I was getting the campaign ready, it was obviously designing characters. The nice thing about First Man was there was really no characters to design because I've had them around for so long. Right. But with Kor-Drath, with it being all brand new, I had to design characters and then all the various covers and stuff to do. And then I want to get the campaign up. And now I can finally get into starting some interiors on it beyond like the sketches and stuff, going to the final board, full-size pages, and then get those off to a colorist so I can start incorporating some of those interiors on the campaign page itself.
Yeah, to get people excited even more so to back it. So I see that it says 21 days left. Is that your first 30 though, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's only been up for a week and a few days. So
wow.
Yeah.
So to be 9,000% funded, that's pretty good.
Honestly, well, it's one of those things, when the first couple campaigns I did, people were like, you should just do your funding goal at 500. I was like, 500? And they're like, well, you're going to make 500. I was like, yeah, I know that. But it's beyond that. And then, it's tricky when you do a campaign because you don't want to set it at what you think you'll actually need to pay myself, for Dennis to get paid a writing rate, and all that, because that's too high. So you want to do like an in between. So the first couple campaigns I didn't even do an in between, but I believe I set them at like 5,000, and that's obviously that's not enough to pay for a 64-page book for production costs, but I knew I'd make more. But the thing is, with the way Indiegogo works, and I believe Kickstarter too, is it's a percentage thing. So if your percentage is high, like you said, mine is, it stays more in the spotlight.
Yes.
Yeah. If you get funded straight away, it'll put you on the front page of everything. And then the more backers you get, it'll just keep you there.
Right. So I was like, this time I'm just going to, I've got 3 campaigns. Well, 4. One was a more of a not a how to draw book, but more for a drawing type thing. So I have 4. This is my 4th actual graphic novel comic book campaign. And I was like, I know I'm going to make it. So I'll do the 500 so I can, like Dean said, I can work that algorithm in my favor. So.
You guys were asking earlier, how we kind of came to doing this type of thing. One of the things we used to do we always do our Wednesday podcast where it's always our DNA, where I go over to his house. But then we'll do podcasts. We were doing movie reviews, TV show, comic book reviews throughout the weeks and stuff. So we've got our group of consumers, guys who love to hop on the chat, who are always talking with us. So we start finding out our core group of customers, the guys who love hanging out with us. They're Star Wars fans, they're Star Trek fans. Bunch of them are D&D fans, role playing in general, whatever the case may be. So as we started talking, we started realizing, well, think about everybody who's on our chat, what we're talking with. I'm like, a sword and sorcery type of book is kind of up the alley of a big bulk of the people that really talk. So we listened to, everybody who was following us and interacts with us on a regular basis. Just like we had, Andy did a bunch of different variations on the trailer that you played. And then we played one and it was really nice. And then we started watching. This is great. But you need metal music. You need metal music. And everybody was saying that. So Andy and I went, all right, let's do metal music. And then it just took off from there and it turned out so good. But we listened to what they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, that is part of it. People would say like, oh, you do really good at, Conan type stuff. And because, you're good at drawing the big dudes and the pretty women and whatnot. And like I said, I do like that type of stuff. I'm definitely not going to draw something that I don't have an interest in. So I was like, yeah, I mean, they're right. Like, if the chat was saying, we want a Civil War book, I'd be like, that's nice. It's not going to happen.
Well,
because
not by me.
I have no interest in, well, I can give you a really good example. I turned down working on a project, a freelance project I was offered because it was more World War II era stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And look, I love Joe Kubert. I love reading Sergeant Rock. And I love Russ Heath, who also had a great run on Sergeant Rock. But there's a difference between liking reading something and actually wanting to draw it. And I have no interest in drawing tanks and World War II stuff. I'd rather read it. It's like back, I'm trying to remember how long, once again, probably like a decade ago, Wildstorm had the license for Supernatural, the TV show.
Oh, okay.
And they also had the X-Files. And they said, hey, would you do a piece for us of and it was around the same time. It wasn't back to back. It might've been a few months apart or a year apart. I don't remember, but I did an X-Files piece. And I also did a Supernatural piece, just a one-off, not storytelling, just like a pinup type thing. And I did it because I was freelance. And, when you're freelance like that, working for somebody else, if you have lots of stuff lined up or lots of options, then great. But at that time, I was just finishing something and I didn't really have anything lined up. So I'm like, do I really want to draw an X-Files book? But I do like the show. And it's based in the real world, and I like drawing real world stuff. So yeah, it could be fun, and same with Supernatural. I like the car they drive. The show's cool. It's real world stuff. So yeah, why not? So I did pieces for those. They didn't go anywhere. So it was one of those things where, if the company was like, yeah, we're thinking of Superman, do a Superman piece and we'll see. And it didn't go somewhere. I would have been like, damn, because I love Superman. But with the X-Files and the Supernatural stuff, it was like, it didn't go anywhere. That's fine. And I just picked up, doing something else. Like I said, I don't remember what it was, but, I just moved on to something else. I wouldn't have hated drawing it, but, my heart and soul wouldn't have been in it either.
Yeah, that's part of creating any comic book, though, like you got to get the right artist for the job.
Right. Oh, totally. I did, there definitely is, as an editor, which I did, when I was at CrossGen, besides drawing a book, I was an art director, which also meant that I would talk to freelance artists and stuff and have input and, trying to get the right person on a book, whatnot, with the other guys, like Bart was the main art director and stuff. So you definitely want to cast the right artist. And, you know, for instance, one of the books I loved back in it was the 90s was Preacher by Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon.
Yeah.
Loved that book. Read the whole series. There's no way I'd be the right guy to draw that book. You know, there's just no way I'd be the right guy to draw that book. And if an editor called me and said, "Hey, do you want to draw a Preacher?" I'd probably be like, "Did you dial the right number?" You know, you're like, "Wait, did you email the wrong Andy Smith? Do you know what I usually draw?"
You mean a variant cover or something, right?
Yeah, do you mean like, yeah, sure. I would do a one-off variant cover of any property.
Yeah.
You know, if Sergeant Rock was around and they were like, "You want to do a cover?" Sure, because that's a one piece. But for a full book, yeah, you definitely want to pick the right people. And you know, like I said, when I got into the business back in '91, I always wanted to draw superheroes, and they were at that time in the '80s and '90s the biggest genre. You know, the one thing I tell people now that's really great about comics is there's literally something for everyone now. You know, if you go up to somebody that's never read a comic book and you're like, "Well, you should read comics." "No, I don't want to read comics. They don't have anything for me." Well, you go, "What do you like to read novel wise?" "Oh, I like mystery novels. I like suspense thriller novels." "Okay, well, there's a book I'm reading right now from Titan Publishing called Gun Honey, which is, and Dennis is reading it too, which is basically a mystery thriller."
Yeah,
you know, yeah, it's a good book. So the point is, there's really no, unless somebody's just dead set against, "I will never read a comic." If you ask anybody, "Well, what type of movies and what do you like to read?" There's that genre out there in comics now.
Absolutely.
Whether it's through what we do with crowdfunding or, you know, Image or IDW or Boom or whatever, Dark Horse, whatever. Everything's really expanding out, which is, I think, is great, you know, for the industry. And I include us in that industry.
You know,
Absolutely.
one of the
Yes.
things that makes us a little bit different, we didn't want to do something that was very similar to anything else that's out there. It's got to be different. There has to be a reason. So, you know, we set it in a world that I created mainly because I used to use it for role playing. Now, I'm a Forgotten Realms guy. Obviously, we're not dealing with that because I'm not dealing with licensing issues or trying to do that. But why not put it in a world? But it's a completely different. Magic works different than it typically does. You know, a lot of issues typically work different. So when we were talking with Andy, I was like, and you can see, and this is a perfect example. For anybody who role plays, if I say hill giant or I see a red dragon, if I say that, you instantly picture, I mean, you've been playing long enough, you already have an instant picture in your mind of what they look like.
Yep.
Andy's coming from a completely different. He's not into it like that, and he goes, "What about this? All my hill giants have to look completely different, and they have to do this. If you look at that red dragon, that doesn't look like a D&D red dragon. It looks like something, because all the red dragons are different. All the different color dragons are different. They're going to look different. They're going to feel different. Same thing with all of the monsters that are going to come out. So I think it's an absolutely wonderful way because we're taking a fresh approach to something because it doesn't all want to look the same. Every hill giant shouldn't look like a hill giant. They shouldn't look like 10 minis that you got out. They all should be completely different.
Yeah, and like when I was designing the characters and stuff, I was, you know, and Adriana is a good example of this, is I was telling Dennis, I said, you know, one of the book I worked on the most at CrossGen was the first. And I did do some of the costume designs in that book when I took it over as the penciler. And I said, you know, I wouldn't mind incorporating kind of stuff like that. And so that when, you know, when I showed him the character design for Adriana, he was like, "Oh, I just didn't picture something like that." And I was like, "Yeah, I just think it's different. And I don't see any reason why I can't fit into this, you know, this world we're creating and stuff."
Right. everybody knows I'm an X-Men fan. So I only had one requirement going into this. The main girl, Jean Grey, Phoenix, is my favorite character of all time. You can't see it, but I literally have an entire wall, statues, actual paintings on the wall of it. I said the main girl, she's got to look like kind of like Jean Grey. That's my kind of girl. And Andy's like, oh, we can do that. And look at that. Adriana turned out perfect.
Bringing the gingers back.
That's right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Jean Grey has been disrespected like my entire life. She's either dead or evil, for real. Like every series, every comic book I own since the 90s.
See, Dean is a youngin', so
Yep.
he wasn't around when she was heroic.
Right.
It's true. It's true. I wasn't.
Well, that's one thing. Everything from like on my wall, I've got for first appearance. I have all the X-Men. So I've collected X-Men. I even went back because they were around, yes, even before I was alive. So I went back all the way back to X-Men #1, finally got my X-Men #1 signed by Stan.
Nice.
And while he was still here. And so, yeah, that is what I have been in comics for. That was my pinnacle, X-Men #1, getting Stan Lee to sign it. So
He won't even let me hold it.
I've never held it.
I wouldn't either.
Oh, fine.
I'm on your side with this one, Andy.
Right? It's just a comic after all. Roll it up, put it in your back pocket.
Oh
just
man,
paper and
sacrilege.
staples.
Right?
Geez, it's not like you can't go buy another one.
And some old guy already drew on it anyway.
I know.
I'm pretty sure I can't.
Like there's no Stanley X-Men ones out there signed. Get out of here.
There are so very few. There are not many in the CGC or CBCS things out there. No,
there's not enough.
Correct.
That's right. Well, I can practice that signature and we can make more.
I don't think so.
La 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 la.
Right. I was gonna say, forgery.
He says right in front of the fraud examiner.
Oh shit, that's right. Forgot that's what you do. I got to go. Damn it. We were talking about that before it went live too.
Yeah, no, this is all just a joke. This is just jokes, Stojo.
Of course it is.
Joke? I would never do that.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
All right. So we got down to the hardcover here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then below that, I always do a parody ad. This is my fourth parody ad. Like I said, I've done, two volumes of First Man, each had a parody ad. And then the first crowdfunding book was Jungle Lords Ultra, which was a flip book that had a parody ad. So I told Dennis, got to do the parody ad. Come up with something good, Dennis.
This looks like the Warner Brothers thing.
It is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Matter of fact, we had decided the parody ad. The only thing we had came up with, we're like, we should do one for beer. We both like beer. We like different types of beer, but we were like, you know what? Let's do a beer one. And I was like, okay. And then he's like, hey, I kind of want to start drawing the ad. So go do something. So I'm like, all right. So I sat down, wrote up a script that day, and then I sent it to him. And he's like, oh, that's perfect. End of it. It was easy.
And, the ads are technically a little easier. And I always like getting them up on the campaign page when the campaign launches.
Uh-huh.
And they're a little easier for a few factors. One, it's a one-off. There's no page before or after to worry about. But because it's a throwback ad, it's just flat color because I want to make it as retro as possible. So I can do the coloring, so I don't have to wait on the colorist. I don't have to send it to him and be like, okay, I kind of need this back. Time's ticking. Need it for the campaign. So I can just do the whole thing, kind of like the Conan homage cover, that retro cover, colored that as well. And I just, I really want to get it up for the campaign because people really like these ads and stuff. So, and they're
Wraith season.
They're fun.
Poking a little fun at Aaron.
No, it's zombie season and Wraith season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Zombie season.
So.
It's Elmer Fudd and Daffy Duck with Bugs Bunny.
Now, you're right. I could have. Now, this would have been such an in joke. People probably wouldn't have got it. But I could have asked Aaron, hey, for my Wraith season, can I draw Wraith of God in there getting blasted away? Because, you know, Wraith. But
He would have said no.
yeah, he probably would have been like, no. But I will say, he's seen every one of these ads, and I think it might be breaking him down. I don't know if for this one, but maybe for his next campaign, he is like, man, I got to do one of those.
I also love the name of the beer, Axe Me.
Yep. That's all Dennis. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were sitting there. I'm telling you, I must have come up with 12, 15 names, and I was like, it's got to be a beer or a mead or an ale, you know. So I was coming up there, and I was literally going, I really wanted to have to do with his axe, Kor-Drath's axe. So what could we do with it? And I was like, axe beer, and I was like, axe mead, and I'm like, axe mead, axe me. Acme Corporation. And immediately I went Looney Tunes, and I was like, okay, rabbit season, duck season. I mean, it hit me just like that. So I literally sat down, typed the whole thing up, and sent it to him.
Yep. It was like stream of consciousness. It all came together.
It did.
Yeah. It was like I said, I read it and I was like, dude, this is awesome. So.
And that shirt.
Yeah, diving into the shirt realm. Well, I mean, I did a shirt for First Man, and, you know, honestly, it didn't get enough orders, so I canned it. But this one is already done, you know, doing really well with the first 9 days in. People are really reacting to it. And, you know, the company St. Clair that is doing it, they did Graham shirts, Ethan stuff, Aaron shirts, and they're great. You know, they do a fantastic job with the design. You know, total credit to them. You send them basically assets, you know, of artwork and the logo and stuff, and kind of give them a little idea of what you're looking for, and they'll send you back a few comps, and, you know, you just kind of tweak it and go back and forth until you know, they hit the nail on the head.
And again, our guys were like, metal, make it like a metal shirt. Bam. I mean, perfect.
Yeah, nailed it.
It's like a metal album cover. Yeah, you know, I was noticing, Andy, that this one here is black, white, and red. It's got the blood on the axe, but it's also got Adriana's red too. That's kind of sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, he did a hell of a job. So, and then we sold Bud Root's art within the first half hour, I think.
Oh, wow.
30 minutes.
And you know what? That was not cheap.
No.
Somebody really stepped up to pay the $3,000 for that. So yeah, I'm jelly.
Wow.
But Bud was very happy when I called him the next day.
I'll bet. All right. So speaking of that, let's go ahead and talk about the tiers. We've got about 10 minutes left here. So
sure.
Let's make sure that we cover those so people know how they're going to do their shopping.
Sure. So, you know, Get It All is pretty simple. It's everything. It's all the covers. Except because once again, I added that new cover just this week. So it's not in the Get It All tier, but it is an add-on. So basically, if anybody gets the Get It All tier and they want the homage cover, they can just add it on. You know, I think the extra shipping for the United States is $1 or $2. So it's not much, you know, and, but that's everything. So it's the covers. And it's also because the first 24 hours, I had up Bud's cover as a black and white variant because Bud did a lot of work on it with cool gray tones and warm tones with Copic markers. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when Dan colors, Dan's more of a painter than a colorist. So, you know, if you look at the colored cover compared to the black and white, you don't really see the gray tones Bud did. So I put up a 24-hour variant, and but that's obviously down by itself, but you can still get it in the Get It All tier, as well as the art edition oversized hardcover as well.
Wow. So yeah,
and it's discounted, you know, so it's cheaper doing it that way.
Okay.
And then pretty much after that, it just goes through each cover, you know, itself separately. So people, it's a smorgasbord. Pick what you want.
It's 64 pages, right?
Yeah, 64 pages.
Okay.
It's
at
least. Oh yeah, it's at least 64, depending on the story. I mean, we're not going to guarantee anything. It's guaranteed 64. Could it be more? Yes. And if we know that as the campaign's going, I'll of course update the page. But yeah, so after that, it's just the individual covers. And after the covers, it goes. Yeah, I mean, how Indiegogo works. They do it by order of amount, so it goes to the which I would. That's something else. I wish I could pick the order of the tiers myself, but then it goes to the T-shirts.
Okay.
And
I know why you say that. Right here is why, right? You'd like to move this one up.
I wouldn't mind moving that up. Yeah.
Yep.
And then below the art book is the Barbarian bundle, which is all just the covers. And once again, the homage covers and you can do as an add-on to it.
Okay.
So
this one here, then the Barbarian bundle it does not include the art, the special hardcover art.
It's just the graphic novels with each of the covers, including Bud's black and white cover.
Oh, so this is another opportunity to get that one. Okay.
Yep. They're the only ways to get it right now.
And then, Dennis and I were talking and we decided let's do a retailer thing. So the retailer pack isn't really customizable. It's just 5 copies of my cover, the main cover, and then 5 copies of Bud's cover at a discounted price.
We've got a lot of comic stores around the area. We're friends with a lot of them. And, they've some of them asked and we're like, you know what? Let's just make that an option so that they have a way to get it on it.
Okay.
Yeah, better to have the option than to not have it.
Right.
Yeah. And then there's, I always do the option of a 7x10 so it fits right inside with the book. It's a separate, piece of paper, but it fits in a comic bag and board. Option for a full figure sketch of a character of your choice.
Oh, okay.
So there's 4 of those left, it looks like.
It could be one of your characters from Kor-Drath, or it could be like maybe.
It could be any. I mean, I don't. So basically, what I do is I send once the campaign's over. I'll send out email to those backers and basically say pick 3 characters. And the reason I say 3 is because then I still have a choice in the matter as well. So if they come back with, Kor-Drath, First Man, or Superman, I can pick, and they're still surprised. So they still get what they want, but it's a surprise, and I still have a say in the matter.
That's cool. I like that idea.
Yeah, so it's worked out well. And I mean, there's been a few, like last campaign, somebody just sent one choice, and it was Penumbra, the First Man's female lead in the book. Right. I mean, it's my character Penumbra. I don't need 2 more choices. I'm like, you got it. So,
okay.
So that's the example, actually, right there is her and her. He actually had a request for her in a bathing suit. So I was like, no problem.
Was that like foreshadowing CG Vacation?
It was, but that's not actually the one. So I've drawn 2 pieces of her in a bathing suit now because that's different. And then, I always do the be a character in the book. There's only 4 slots for that. For $400, you get to be, it's nice. You basically get a panel to yourself, your head, your face, word balloon, and you get 4 copies of the book. So you can give them out to friends and family.
Very cool.
And then below that is the stuff that's gone. So like the headshots are all gone because those were limited to 10 as well. And then Bud's cover's gone. Yeah.
Okay.
So
let's see. When you came on, you had 669 backers.
Yeah.
And 47,094. Now, I'm not one of those channels where we're going to have, a huge bump, but you never know. Let's see what happens if I do a refresh here.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, sometimes it does. Aaron was on our channel today, and we were talking about something else, treasury editions, like Dennis said. But we had his campaign up and talked about it, and there was nothing. But that's okay. That's what replays are for, and
that's right. Yeah, we do get some watches on the replay. Let me see if I can. Let me see here. StreamYard. I'm going to see if I can see how many folks we've got in right now. I'm sorry, I don't see where that is. Oh, it looks like maybe 7 are watching right now. But you know, when I go back and look at the views for my shows, I think it's because I'm streaming against somebody like Art T Bear right now, and a couple others like Rini is also on right now. So I do get a lot of people who come back and watch it on the replay. So you know, I thank those people for coming back, because I do understand that there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of other choices. So it's cool that you come back and watch the show too. I appreciate it.
Well, I see Lady Alia Sanguis was asking about Adriana's parents. What gives them the authority to make prophecies? Are they seers? So can't spoil too much. But
I was going to say, I can't wait to see how Dennis answers this question.
Onion layer that has to be peeled back. That is all going to be part of it. Yes, she does not know who her parents are, and that will all wind up coming out at some point. So a lot of people are asking, you know, is this like a long string of books? Yes and no. Yes, we have the option to continue it, but this is going to be a self-contained story that's going to have a starting point and an ending point. However, it will also lead into future books, because there's a lot of depth to all of these characters. When I make up a character, I start out with 100 questions. So I know everything that they're going to want to do, what they're going to be able to do in the future, their entire family history, how it relates to everything. So yes, I have the ability to be able to go through long term. But anyway, that is one of the many questions that at some point will get answered.
So that's all part of your world building, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Yeah, he did these 100 questions things, and I got to admit, hey, you're missing some comments, by the way. Hey, thank you. Hey, look, I appreciate that, because look, when I set this up, besides obviously Dennis reading through it, I had a few other people read through it as well. You know, I showed it to the professionals, my professionals buddies. I showed it to a few other people. Obviously, we're not all grammar great.
You've got to show it to editors
funny, not
or
everybody
auditors.
agrees on commas and when we should use a comma.
It's great. It's funny because like Dennis was looking at something earlier and he goes, "Oh, it should be comma," and I did it, and then Grammarly pulls up the little thing, and I click on it, says lose it, so I lost it. So it's just like, oh, what the hell?
Is that the debate about the Oxford comma, guys?
Sure. I know what that is, sort of.
I just draw cool pictures, all right?
Yeah. Hey, but do me a favor real quick, because I know you want to wrap it. Go down to the bottom, because I do want to point out the first 2 stretch goals.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I think they're pretty cool, and I came up with the nugget of the idea for them, and Dennis ran with them. So these, I think, are cool, because basically the first 2 stretch goals are 7x10 mini print character cards. So they'll be printed like a mini print on nice, heavily paper. Oh, she says Grammarly's trash. All right, well, I'll keep that in mind.
Oh, yeah, I think I was right and Grammarly was wrong. I'm just saying. But
no, I actually have what is that book? Strunk something writing or whatever. Anyhow. So basically on the front, I said, Dennis, for a stretch goal, I like doing mini prints. So what about instead of a generic mini print, which is just something cool on the front, nothing on the back, what if we make them character cards where there's a cool shot of the character on the front, and on the back, we just make, have their statistics. And Dennis is like, I'll take that further. What if on the back, their statistics are legit SRD compatible role-playing game statistics? So if somebody gets this, they can actually use them in role-playing games. And I was like, that is awesome.
Yeah.
So
when I saw these, I was like, oh, that's cool. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So the first 2 stretch goals are for Kor-Drath and Adriana for their character cards. So
he's a barbarian and she's a sorceress.
Anybody who plays it gets a sense right away. I already had some people looking at it and going, wow, they are badass, aren't they? They are.
Oh, there's a thing called Hemingway Editor. I'll have to look into that. Thank you very much. I will actually look into that. I love that stuff. Cool.
And then we've got some more stretch goals to be announced.
Yeah.
And then some more great things you can do for add-ons. are the First Man, 2 covers for the first issue, 2 covers for the second issue. And did Bart do the second cover of the first issue also?
Yeah, Bart did both variant
I was
covers.
gonna say, because I know he did this one here with the hands glowing and all that, but he also did this one. Okay.
Yep. And then Intrepid is just a little 8-page. It's like 5x7 ash can. It was from a story that Bart and I did. Bart wrote it. I drew it when Ominous Press first started up back in the 90s. And I was like, man, I want this thing to see some print.
Yeah, you know what, folks, this is good. Andy had this available, I don't remember how long ago, maybe a couple of months ago. And I don't know if you just said, hey, if you want this, reach out to me, but I got a copy of this and I want to see more. Is there more coming for this?
For Intrepid?
Yeah.
I mean, it really just depends on Bart's schedule and if we wanted to try and do more with it or with him, because, the whole thing, just real quick with Ominous Press was Intrepid was, we launched it with obviously stuff Bart was drawing because it was his company. Okay. But then the next phase of the company was me. The next book we were going to do was Intrepid that I was going to draw. So I did this short 8-page story, and it never saw print. So we finally got it colored, and I admit I did go back in and retweak some of the artwork because I originally drew it in '94. So some of just a few minor things here and there, I tweaked some, and then we got it colored. And I basically said, "Do you mind if I do it as an ash can?" And he said, "No, go ahead." So,
very cool.
Yeah, and there's other add-ons too that I need to update this page because I put in.
Oh, there's more.
Well, no, not on this page. If you actually go to the checkout, you'll see different add-ons that aren't here.
Oh, okay.
I got to update this page because I just put them up like a couple days ago. So,
gotcha.
Yeah. So there you go.
So yes, Lady Ali also agrees that the cards are cool.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, if you like those, just stay tuned. There'll be more and more updates coming.
There you go, Randy.
Exactly. I was laughing at that. Of course, Randy always makes us laugh.
I know. That's funny.
Okay, guys. Yeah, Andy was right a few minutes ago. We have gone over the hour. So what I'd like to do now is ask each of you to tell us where we can find you on the socials. And I've got the link to this campaign in the description. So if those of you who want to go out and back this, please do. This looks like an amazing project. And, he's dipping his toe into this new genre for him. And I think it's going to be very well received. It already is at $47,000, but yeah, let's get it
looks
up there.
awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, guys.
So
I'm easy to find. Just Andy Smith Art on Twitter, Andy Smith Art on Facebook. Same with Instagram, and those are the 3 I'm at. And then my website's the same, Andy Smith Art. So
wow, great! I like the consistency.
Mine, I'm just Dennis Turner on Facebook and at Dinja's Comics on Twitter. And I did put in the private chat the link for the Dennis and Andy show, because we do our own show where, like you, we also, besides having interviews, we do movie reviews, TV show reviews, have full discussions. We do convention live stuff. We do book hauls and stuff like that when we go. So you can check out our archives plus all of our new stuff. So I left but it's the Dennis and Andy show.
There it is. Thank you.
DNA show.
Yeah, I dropped it in the comments for you.
Yep,
very cool.
Awesome.
So yeah, like and subscribe, and join us on that. And thank you very much for that. So yeah, we have a great time. And then I know we're going to try and work out a time where we can get you to come on our show.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll reach out to you guys and we'll set something up. Dean, where can we find you?
All right. You can find me on YouTube and Comics Mate, Your Mates in Comics, where I do a show with Kemosabe, as well as release short videos and cartoons and stuff every now and then. And you can find me on basically every other social media under Comics Mate or DJ Comics Mate on Twitter.
Okay, great. Guys, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate your time. Thanks for bringing us this IP. I think it's going to do very well, like I said, and we're going to get back on the show to talk about the Embrace 2 sometime
Yes,
soon.
sign up today.
Yeah, that's right. The sign up is already available. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Thank
Take
you very
care.
much for having us.
We're going to go out with this testimonial trailer, so folks, stick around for a couple more minutes and listen to what some folks had to say about Projectile Reptile.
Projectile Reptile from Dojo-kun Comics, only on Indiegogo. Are you ready for the truly Wild West?
Between all of us, we've probably seen hundreds of campaigns, and this one's really laid out cleanly. I like how you've laid it out.
This campaign's very clear. You've done a great job of communicating those things. You can tell you've put a lot of care and attention into the book and the campaign.
Look at this. You've got an awesome book.
It's awesome. The concept is cool. It's a brand new character. It's a mixture of Western, superhero. It has something for everyone.
This is a bit of a sprawling story. I thought we would just be staying in the Wild West, but it seems we're going to town on this.
If there is anyone out there who thinks they might know someone who might be interested in a gun-slinging, gun-toting, reptile, cowboy, superhero time travel book.
I love the 4 arms. That's so cool.
The Wild West. I love it. I'm a big Western fan. I've always been a Western fan.
Brian, you're our workhorse.
Because I really like the decisions made here. It's really cool.
And you're making the right decisions, you're making the right changes, and you're headed in the right direction. And those are all huge positives, and that's a testament to you wanting to succeed, and it's great to see.
All right, guys, we do have a few projects up there right now that I do want to go over, make sure that we get our friends funded here for Comicsgate. We've got 160 people in the chat, so thank you for showing up. This is Projectile Reptile from Dojo-kun right here. Dojo-kun's like our truth barometer, our fraud barometer for Comicsgate. If he likes you, you're probably in a good spot. Is where I think that it is, and you do a good service for Comicsgate for that.
Sincerely, Dojo, your perseverance is sincerely inspirational to me.
I do think that out of all of the books that you've put out, this does seem like the best interior art I've seen so far. I mean, I think you found a really good artist.
Oh, Renzo Rodriguez, the Impossible Stars artist, did this cover. I love his art. He's a good guy.
Cheers.
He doesn't do drama. He just makes on-time books, my friends.
That's right.
Just like Dojo.
There's some fantastic covers. They're all amazing on this campaign.
Projectile Reptile, that'll be my first hardcover cover piece ever.
Oh,
yeah, just so you guys know. I've never had a hardcover release, so.
That right there is history in and of itself. So if you want the first ever Shelby Robertson hardcover cover, get in there and back Projectile Reptile and get that Shelby cover.
Hell yeah.
It's definitely some very cool character design.
Got the beautiful honeys right here. And I love how you're bringing the gingers back. We do not discriminate against gingers in comic books over here in the Indies.
That's right.
We bring them back.
Yes. I love those freckles, man.
That's why I love your game. It's simple. I love you can just get it. It's a little add-on. I love that, though. Just starting small and starting light.
Well, I like the Mint 10 game. I've never seen something like that before, so that's really cool to see some new stuff.
Great trailer, Dojo-kun.
Let's help Brian get this funded.
Back Projectile Reptile.
Yeah.
All right.
It's awesome. I love westerns. It's got a western monster vibe. They used to have fun with these comics, and they don't anymore. But we're going to do it for them because they can't. And so check out Projectile Reptile Comics by Dojo-kun. Good friend of the channel. Great guy in Comicsgate here. And you deliver you deliver. You've got a reputation for delivering. Good guy. On time books. No drama.